No, man. No, you don't understand. I didn't want to kill him, man.
Of course you didn't. Of course we never want to kill them. But you did it really well.
Are you like winking while you're saying this? Like, I understand. I understand. I'm like, no, man, seriously.
All right, everyone, it is Point of Order, our weekly discussion of the D&D 5e rules, occasionally interrupted by some actual role-playing. This is episode 6 of our campaign, All the Time in the World. And let us start with a recap of the story. When last we left our intrepid adventurers, after several harrowing events in the town of Cortis, including the mysterious sabotage of the lift, a series of letters from a suspect named Carruthers, and the investigation of a house infested with starspawn and a strange diary, the party had made their way to the hamlet of Rockhaven at the behest of High Marshal Labella Morstrider. She had asked the party to investigate rumors that Rockhaven had been overrun by the Obsidian Ring, an infamous organized crime ring in the Broken Waste. En route, the party met with refugees from Telworth, victims of a werewolf attack. This news greatly disturbed Valfire, who lost control of his faculties upon wild shaping into a wolf. He eventually returned to the party covered in blood and with no memory of what happened. The party eventually reached Rockhaven and were barred by what we might call an unwelcoming committee, presumably agents of the Obsidian Ring. However, the group snuck into position and launched an attack on the Marauders, finally defeating them in a pitched battle atop a rocky plateau. We now pick up where we left off, with the group about to search the handful of buildings that make up the hamlet of Rockhaven, and eventually return to High Marshal Morstrider with news of their success. All right, adventurers, what do you do?
Point of order.
Yes.
I believe we had knocked unconscious the very last everyone else was dead, right?
Yeah, that is correct. So the burly, large-framed woman who led these agents of the Obsidian Ring had been knocked unconscious by Smiles' vicious mockery, and could not take the psychic pressure and just collapsed into a heap on the floor. We'll say instead of being knocked unconscious, she is sobbing on the ground, tears running down her eyes in a torrent, and just overcome with emotion at the last insult that he threw at her.
Oh, Smiles, that was pretty brutal there, bud. I mean, look at what you did to the lady.
I
Screwed you up there really well, didn't I?
you know,
can do it!
some people are nice and some people aren't that nice. And the people that aren't nice, they deserve what they get.
Oh, I believe
You know
that.
what I think
That's
we
fine.
should do?
What's that?
Why don't you guys hold her down? And
I will sit on her.
Let's ask her some questions. Some questions about this Obsidian Ring and what they're doing.
I'll
to our
plop right
nice
down
little
on
town.
her.
Okay, you plop down her. She's not very, it's not very difficult to kind of position her in a state that you can kind of get leverage. She's still overcome with emotion, and it appears to be just out of sorts.
And her name, did we catch her name?
You did not.
All right. Kind of say, hey, you, what do they call you?
Why would you say something so mean to me?
We're near the water, right? So I'll cast shape water and I'll just draw as much as I can and just splash her with it. I say, "Wake up,
Okay.
you fool!"
Okay. You
Shake
go
it.
into the throes of magic. You pull up a stream of water from the large pond that had sort of dominates the center of Rockhaven, and you throw a spout of water at her, which kind of shakes her out of her emotional stupor, and she kind of looks up startled. What do you all want with me?
The boss is not happy with you.
Oh yeah, who's your boss?
You know who I'm talking about.
I knew I wouldn't have asked, would I?
Typical you. Typical you. What was your name again? Helga, is it?
Sure, that's what you want to call me. That works.
All right, Helga. You have one opportunity to tell us here what's going on. So, why are you terrorizing Cortis?
Make an intimidation check.
Intimidation.
+7.
Oh, it's a 20.
Oh, dirty 20?
Dirty, dirty, dirty.
Dirty 20. All right.
Dirty 20, alternative name for this this little game here.
Indeed. It was in the running. She looks at you with a scowl, and her expression kind of softens, and she says, "My name's actually Marlana. We were sent here, orders to take over Rockhaven, use it as an outpost for an eventual invasion of Cortis."
From the Obsidian Ring?
Yes, the Obsidian Ring.
I don't get it. You guys just kind of make your money and, hang out on the outskirts. Why go after Cortis?
Make an insight check.
I would love
Everybody or just
Just Roar, who is asking the question.
to. -2. 2.
Okay, yeah, difficult to kind of read. She looks at you and kind of spits on the ground. Obsidian Ring has changed. Things are different now. Not sure why we're doing all this and that.
What? So you just do what people tell you to do? You don't have these the convictions to take over here?
Convictions? What is this? Some kind of noble paladin's order? No, we get paid. We get paid for what we do. We get paid good.
I'll run up to her. I'll grab her and say, "Do you have a change in leadership? Is that why you changed?" Or I start grinding my teeth at her, even though I'm really small and probably half her size.
Yeah, gotta make an intimidation check.
But I expect Roar to be do a lot of the growling behind.
I'm sitting
me.
on her. I'm like,
Yeah.
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 Eight.
She doesn't really seem intimidated. It doesn't respond to your query, except to, kind of pull her head aside from your grasp and says, "I take orders. We're pretty well segmented. I don't know who the boss's boss is.
Who is your boss?
I just get orders. I find them.
Where do the orders come from?
There's a place.
Does the place have a name?
It's in a barrel. I look under the barrel. Sometimes there's a scroll telling me what to do.
Where's the barrel?
It's not here, I can tell you that much."
Well, why don't you tell me where it is? Or I'm going to
Because-
have Roar over here sit on your face until you can't breathe anymore.
Some
Make
people
another
are into that, bud.
intimidation check.
I gotta stop intimidating. I gotta deceive.
learning check.
What does Lucius think of all
that's
this?
A 20,
I thought-
that's a 22.
22. All right. She says, she kind of looks up at Roar, who is, has his massive, just kind of smiling with his fangs showing, has his massive ponderous bulk just weighing her down. And she says, it's behind an inn in Telworth.
Oh, I know Telworth. I know most of the inns. listen, if you let us go, or if you let us know, you may not end up like your compatriots. There's one drowned in the water over there. I burned a couple of them. We're gonna have to know the name of that inn.
Yeah, Lucius, by the way, is like fishing the bodies and collecting the bodies, and kind of just like he's looking for a shovel somewhere to like put away the bodies.
Yeah. Okay.
He's kind
so
of not in this conversation. To answer your question, Paul.
No problem. So this will take some time for you to do, and you can do this while the conversation is going, but you do manage to fish out the bodies, drag them all together. There's no real place, way to bury the bodies in the hard, rocky terrain, and normally
I can immolate them for you.
He wants to give them a proper Aarakocra burial, which would involve wrapping them in oil-soaked cloth and then lighting them on fire and throwing them off of the side of a floating city. Not really an option. So
the rags and the wrapping piece, you could certainly try to affect something like that, and the immolation certainly.
Yeah, he'll attempt to burn the bodies.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I got you covered there, bud. Do you want to throw them off the top of the tower here?
Bro, man. No, bro, it's cool, man. These guys weren't Aarakocra, so I don't need to do the full ceremony, man.
Okay.
I'm not gonna give up my feathers for him. So,
but I'll spark my hands a little bit with flame. I can burn them though for you.
I appreciate it. You go head back to intimidation to that guy, man. I got this, okay?
I heard about another tribe that likes to put their dead. Maybe we could put the dead up in the tower and leave them for vultures to eat, and get returned to the earth. I think Valfire would be into that.
At the mention of vultures, Lucius like visibly tenses up, and he's like, kind of looks around. He's like, "Bro, man, do you see some? Is that why you're bringing it up, man?"
Well, but we could certainly attract them and feed them with these bodies.
No, it's cool. We'll burn. Just go back to intimidating, bro. And he pushes you away. He's like pushing you out of the way. He's like, go ahead. I got this, bro.
But Lucius!
Smiles is right. Why would we burn these bodies? From death comes life. If we burn these, the creatures in this area cannot eat and survive. I suggest we leave these out for the vultures and the creatures to eat. And from
Lucius is like,
from death comes life, my friend.
Lucius is like, yeah, man, that sounds awesome. As he's like actively lighting a flint. And they're like, he's like, that's totally what needs to happen in nature. And he lights a spark.
I'm just constantly casting control water, constantly putting it out. It's just like a small stream when he turns his head in a way.
Are they 15 feet
from
next
over
to
his shoulder lands a little spark of water?
Right.
Are they 15 feet next to us, Raj?
I'll sure. Yeah, they're relatively close. Yeah.
Terrific. Horror wanting to help his buddy. Go ahead and just cast Burning Hands, and a 15-foot cone of fire shows up.
Yeah. So eventually, the bodies are in fact immolated, and you can see the oil-soaked rags start to.
I jump in front and cast Absorb Elements. No.
Yeah.
I would like to do this while still sitting on Marlana and saying, "You never told us the name of that inn."
Yeah. I was waiting for you idiots to have a break in whatever it is you're doing over there. But the name of the inn. What's that?
Says Raj.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, in Marlana's accent. The name of the inn is the Mottled Clawfoot.
Mottled?
Mottled, M-O-T-T-L-E-D.
Mottled, sure.
Clawfoot in Telworth.
Do I know that, as I've spent a lot of time in Telworth?
Make a history check.
Love to. It's 9 + 6, 15.
Yeah, you're definitely aware of it. It is a pretty frequent gathering spot for members of the Resistance, and you know it well. You've probably been there several times.
Yes, great, good. Okay, good. So, what are we gonna do with this one right here?
One more thing. Does the barrel pay you as well?
Coin is often left where the scroll was upon completion of a task.
Sorry, say that again.
Coin is often left under the barrel where the scroll is left upon completion of a task.
I see. Well, what should we do with her?
Bro,
I mean,
man,
I have a
man,
great rapier. I mean, I'm like, it's lesson 2, right? To do the stab before they know.
Well, hold on, bro, man. No need to kill. In my people's culture, when someone does a crime, they don't have to do the time. They can just choose to be hobbled. And in my culture, we take out the wings. So you can't fly anymore. Maybe we should just hobble this person right here.
Look,
Sure.
you...
And I'll go ahead and slice her Achilles tendons.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Slow
No,
down, Roar.
I
Slow
jump.
down, Roar.
I jump in front and say, "No, in my clan, you battle those that have weapons. You don't kill those without." And I take out my moon saber and I throw it to her, and say, "If you want your life, defeat our bugbear friend."
All right. So she
Which is like-
are you just threw, she's still being pinned to the ground by
Oh,
four.
I'll
You
step up. I'll step
you
up,
step-
pull the rapier out, and kind of draw it against the ground.
Okay. She kind of gets up to her knees, quickly just kind of scrambling off the rock, and says, "Look, no hard feelings, all right? I came here with a job to do. Obviously, it didn't go so well. If I go back to the Obsidian Ring, my life is over. I'm not going back there. I'll never be here. You'll never see me again if you all just let me go."
Can I tell if she's lying?
Make an insight check.
Ooh, I'm going to do that too.
Inside 10.
20, dirty.
I pick up the sword and just hold it to her.
Yeah, she seems pretty forthright, in earnest. She seems fearful if she were to report back.
Broseph, man. Like totally like, what, why? Why won't they just accept you back? I don't understand.
Failure is no longer tolerated in our organization. Failure like this.
Lucia's like, fair enough, man. Or woman, lady, person.
Things are different
Human?
now.
Human?
Things are different now, and I'd rather be out if I can.
Well, I'm satisfied.
right.
Lucius just walks away, like literally, just like, what's next?
What do you
Is
what do
she
you say,
carrying
Rory?
Is she carrying a purse or anything? I mean, does she have any valuables on her?
It looks like she has a like a messenger bag type of satchel at her side, but not much else other than the giant weapon that she was wielding in battle, which you've obviously kicked away at this point.
Yeah. Well, you've done some bad stuff, and there always need to be consequences. Leave your bag. If we ever see you again, I'm gonna leave you to this one, and I'll point to Valfire and his growling nature.
Okay. She takes the bag off. She's like, "It's all yours." She just drops it at her feet and starts walking away, like backwards slowly. "Will never see me again."
All right. What's in the bag?
She walks away.
What's in the bag?
What's in the bag? You open
What's
the
in
bag.
bag number 1?
Bag number 1, you find bag number only, you find, let's find out what you find.
Yeah.
Find 7 gold pieces,
Great. Terrific. Great.
and you also find a book, a ledger of sorts.
This looks like this is for reading. Or
Yep.
you should read it.
Oh, I will absolutely. I'll pull up my tiny little glasses, put them on, and I just immediately start going through it.
Okay. As you start leafing through the ledger, you realize the whole thing is written in a series of ciphers, characters that you don't quite understand and don't match
Oh.
any language that you're familiar with.
Love me a puzzle.
There are, and it is just pages upon pages of what looks to be well-kept notes on whatever it was that was being tracked, but all in a strange code.
Oh, I got my book reading for the knights, guys. Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. I'm gonna crack this case wide open. And I'll look at Lucius. We got a new case.
All right, can
man.
we-
Sounds awesome, bro.
Can I go to start searching all of these rooms and buildings?
Yeah, definitely. You start searching sort of one by one. Give me 2 investigation checks. let's say.
Can we join?
If you all are helping, you can give advantage to someone who's
Yeah. Okay. Advantage.
Oh,
bequeathed.
well, that's I'm going to need that advantage, guys.
Yeah,
Mhm,
I'm helping.
Okay. So the first one was a 13.
Okay.
Next one, 11. And 11 on the next.
Okay, 13 and 11. All right. So you search the 4 or so buildings that make up this hamlet. And actually what strikes you first is that there don't seem to be any townsfolk here of any kind. No one that seems like a resident here. The only people that were here were the Obsidian Ring members that you just killed or drove off. Who knows what happened? It's not apparent what has happened to the people who did live here. What you notice inside the buildings, you look inside the tower. If you recall, there was a house sort of at the far corner of the plateau. Those two seem to be intact buildings. You look inside and you find supplies, crates full of foodstuffs, barrels full of water and ale, various trappings like sleeping bedrolls, extra cloaks, a cache of weapons, short swords, bows, arrows, things like that, and nothing else really that would mark personal life sort of living here in the town. You do find some of those elements among the houses, but it looks like they've been discarded and perhaps the place has been abandoned for some time. That's about the extent of what you find. You also find an additional 17 silver pieces and another 43 copper pieces just sort of strewn about, but
How many
no-
copper? You said
43.
43.
Are you take care of that?
I'm
What
taking
else?
that. I assume you took the gold from her purse.
No, go. You take that too. It was 7.
7?
When you say take it, you mean like into your own possession?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the boss.
Lu-
You know, he gotta tell us what to do. So
Yeah, I imagine that Lucius is like finding these and being like, "Bros, I found some more gold. Who wants it?" Like he's just like uninterested.
Okay.
Well,
Your possessions, not for me, man. Not for me.
job well done, guys. We gotta let Lavella Borstrider know. I think we still need to talk to Sidonius. We didn't make our morning meeting with him, if I recall. But hey, Rockhaven, safe. Gotta let people repopulate. Good job. It's a good job, folks.
Bros,
The best
man.
job. You guys are the best crew. You are just so good. You did such a good job. War, you
I
said
killed
it so well.
a bunch of people. Yeah.
You killed them so good. They really enjoyed it. I could see the smiles on their faces as you destroyed them.
I love it. Lucius, hey, did you get to kill some people?
Bro, man, I don't want to talk about it, man. I don't want to talk about it. That's
Ah,
you're harsh and
Lucius,
mellow, man. You're
Your
harsh and
performance, it was so mellow and so zen. I've never seen you so at peace.
mellow. No, man. I was trying to save this bro, and I was like trying to be like, bro, stop. I'm not trying to kill you. And then like next thing I know, Dunzo.
Yeah, you did handle it really well. It was
No, man. No, you don't understand. I didn't want to kill him, man.
Of course you didn't. Of course you. We never want to kill them, but you did it really well.
Are you like winking while you're saying this? Like, I understand. I understand. I'm like, no, man, seriously. Ugh.
All right. So, all right, you search the rest of Rockhaven. You find a few scattered coin, obviously some supplies recently brought in. No sign of inhabitants. What do you do now?
I don't know what time it is, but I think we pack up and you can grab some of the foodstuffs. I'll snag a dagger if there was any in the supply things in the supply area.
Yeah, you can definitely
And
pick up
then-
a dagger. Yeah, and
Great.
I'll say that there are probably like a good 30 or 40 days of rations here that you could try to take. It's a lot to carry just on your back, but you could certainly, replenish any supplies that you wanted to.
I'll grab 5 days rations. Anyway, okay.
Okay.
Let's head back to Cortis there, guys. Let's
I'll grab 5 days as well.
maybe we'll swing by Sidonius first and then talk to Lavella.
Okay.
As they grab all their rations and stuff, Velfire just starts pulling out good berries and just starts, I don't know why you guys need food. This one berry. Crunchy berry, sand, and this can feed you for a whole day. The elves have something like this, but it's a bread. But this berry, it's got raspberry all in it. So good.
I'm not a fan of the lint. That's the whole thing.
All right, then I say fine. From death comes life, and I start going into spellcasting. And on the ground, I grow a goodberry plant, which you see blossoms from the ground. And then the berries grow, and then the tree withers, and the berries remain. And I say, please enjoy some freshly made.
How many can I get there, bud?
There should be 10. Enjoy. And he walks away.
Lucius grabs one and is like, man, variety is like totally like the spice of life, man. So like good berries and all, appreciate them, man. They're great. Just love a little mix up, you know what I'm saying? And he walks away. Eating the good berry, being like, this is pretty good.
Valfire, do you have an unlimited supply of good berries?
No. It comes at a cost. Everything's a cost, Smiles. You know that. It costs. I must use a spell slot, one of my moon granted spell slots, to cast this. But before I go to bed every night, I cast it, and I show him my pockets are full of somewhat rotten and just rotten. These ones were made 2 days ago. They don't last. They don't last very long.
Tell me you're making goodberry wine. That's what I want to know.
I'm imagining Paul. He has these various sacks, and they're all labeled like, how some people label like Ziploc bags in a fridge. He's like 6 days ago.
No Ziploc bags, just like pouches in my pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Point of order. They only do last for 24 hours after.
Do they?
Cast, so yeah.
Yes.
Fair.
I'll take 5.
All right.
And I will eat them. Oh gosh, yes. All right, cool.
Lucius comes back and goes, man, by the way, so like when I'm on like a single food diet, man, I'll tell you what, the stuff that comes out the other end, not bueno, man. Like, so I like to mix it up. What's a good berry only diet look like for you, man, Valfire, man? Tell me, like, lay it on me, brother.
I don't know.
You don't poop, man?
I have plenty of red meat, and you know what that does. It's explosion. I eat good meat and bad meat. It keeps. We were taught in the we were taught in the woods that you must constantly go to the bathroom.
Sorry, I made a mistake, bro, man. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I retract the question. Let's move on. Let's head back to where are we going?
Cortis.
Cortis.
We head back to Cortis.
I take rations. I take rations.
Sure, yeah. So we'll say that this conversation has been going on while you've been walking back, and having just sort of arrived in Rockhaven at around midday, it will take you the remainder of the day to return to Cortis. And the journey back to Cortis is largely uneventful. The shadows start to grow long from the finger-like projections of the Cragclaw Mountains as they cast their shadows over the broken waste, and the illumination from pending judgment starts to become brighter and brighter as the sun wanes, and you can see that off towards the north, glowing like a small moon over the clouded ruins of Dendrith, the one-time capital of the Draconis Imperium. As evening approaches, you make your way back to Cortis and arrive through the outskirts of East Crack and make your way towards the upper level of Deep Crack, where you find yourselves there. And what do you do now that you're in the center of town?
You guys want to go see Sidonius first, or do you want to go see Lavella?
Either. We need to go get our weapons silver. Put silver on our weapons and swords. If we intend to fight lycanthropes. You remember the women that we met on the road? Our next journey is to find these werewolves as soon as possible. We must prep ourselves.
Do you really think Telworth is having a problem with them up there?
No, it's outside Telworth. It's my understanding, but we should
it's
research
close.
it.
It's not good.
That's true. We should stop at a blacksmith and see how much it costs to get things silvered. And the rest of you must prepare yourselves. Lycanthropes are nothing to fool with.
Sure. I like that.
What time is it?
Sure.
Right now?
It's early evening, say about like 6-7 p.m. roughly. The sun has just set.
All right. Why don't we divide and conquer, Valfire?
Bro, not a good idea, bro. Don't like where that's going. I recommend. What time did you say it was, Raj? Like
6-7 p.m. It's early evening.
Bro, I think we let Sidonius and who's the other person? Lavella know we're in town. We're back. Let's find a nice inn. Let's chill. Find a place to perch, and then maybe catch a drink, some good food, and some Z's, man.
Well, let's go see Lavella. It's close to the Wealthy Wagoneer. And then in the morning, we'll go see Sidonius. And then on our way out to Telworth, probably we'll get some silver at a blacksmith.
No, to silver your weapons takes time. I'll head there now, and I'll just walk off.
Okay.
I'll follow him. I want to silver some weapons. New weapons, weapon adjustments, weapon customization. I'm in.
I need some silver armor.
No, you fool. Silver armor. It's the weakest type of armor. You coat weapons with silver. You don't have silver weapons. They bend like a spoon.
Lucius kind of jogs to catch up to Valfar, and he goes, "Bro, man, how do you silver like a quarterstaff, man? It's like wood."
They can wrap it. Obviously.
With silver twine, man.
They can put a nice emblem on it. It's probably something you could slide over the top just when you're battling werewolves, or perhaps a separate staff.
Do you think they could silver the studs in my leather armor?
Perhaps that seems excessively expensive, but I was thinking a staff condom would be appropriate. Nothing too thick, obviously, but thin and ribbed for all pleasures.
Bro, I don't get it. You're going to explain it, man.
I'm not a blacksmith.
We'll keep walking to the blacksmith.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and make whoever is kind of leading the expedition to find a blacksmith. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
I know the way. Follow me.
He's not looking. Yeah.
Okay. It's easy to find. There's really only one sort of blacksmith in town that might be capable of this, so it's not difficult to kind of know the location. You do have trouble getting there though, because the lift is still out of commission. You do have to descend deeper into Deep Crack to find the location, and that does take a little bit of time. It takes you almost an hour to get there. On the third tier, you find close to the shaft where the lift was running, a place known as Steel Claw, and it is dark on the inside actually, and the door looks shuttered, but you do see sort of a large kind of bay opening built into the cliffside, and in the windows, like there seems to be shutters drawn, and the door seems to be shut, and it seems to be like no light kind of coming from outside, from within.
I start rapping on the door. Good sir, good sir.
And Lucius
Madam,
goes up
or
and goes,
madam.
"Oh, madam."
It's hard to tell with dwarfs. That could be considered racist. This is a game about race, though. So, but I suspect that it would be a dwarf.
As you start rapping on the door, you do hear heavy bootsteps on stone from behind, kind of shuffling their way towards the
Master
entrance.
dwarf, master dwarf, open up.
And lucky for you, it is actually a dwarf that opens the door. You hear the rattling and clanking of chains, of locks being slid aside, and opening the door is a soot-covered dwarf with, you think, whitish hair, but is completely kind of blackened by soot. Dressed in a leather apron, long brown burlap sort of tunic, the apron hanging over the tunic, and before you, just kind of standing there, you can see that one of the sleeves of the shirt has been rolled up to the shoulder, and you see that this dwarf only has one arm. And as you open the door, "Sorry, we're closed," he says, and starts to slowly close the door.
I put my foot in. Master dwarf, we're in need
Oh.
of your services.
Did you not hear what I said? We're closed. Come back tomorrow.
Good sir, I wish we could wait till then, but your services are needed. We can pay. Tell them we can pay, Smiles.
Listen, dwarf, buddy, pal. We're friends, right?
No, we're not. Never seen you before. Good night.
Sure, we're not friends yet, but wouldn't you like to help a group out? You look like the kind of person who wants to help people. I like to help people. Don't you like to help people?
I like to get paid for when I do stuff. Good night.
Real quick, my Master Dwarf, this will be the only question I ask you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Do you silver weapons, and what is the cost?
He sighs heavily. I can silver weapons, but you'll need to procure the silver yourselves.
Son of a. Where do we find these silver?
Try going to Underwoods. They'll probably have some there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what is your name, Master Dwarf?
My name is Alamarl Batterbroom.
Oh, Battle Broom. Strong clan name. I'm familiar with their work. Well, Master Dwarf.
Batterbroom, not Battle Broom.
Oh, I'm not familiar
yes,
with
I'm
their
familiar with
clan.
their pancakes. So clean.
Miles,
All
quiet.
right. Good night.
We're gonna pay
Mhm.
double. All right, good night, sir.
He shuts
We'll
the
see you
door.
in the morning.
Yeah.
You hear like a bunch of locks and chains being slid back over the door.
I think it'd be pretty funny to go wake up Lavella Morstrider right now, or just bust in the door, let her know.
Wake
we
up,
fixed
it's like
the problem.
7 p.m., right?
It's like 8 p.m. It's like 8
It's-
p.m.
Yeah, it's a little bit later, but it's not terribly late.
It's not Tom's
Bros.
bedtime. It's not Tom's bedtime, and Mike.
Yeah, it's these guys. So, yeah.
Bros, man, it's like totally time we find an inn, bros.
We'll go to Wealthy Wagoneer after, you know? I really like staying there. It's gonna be good.
Lucius is just like, oh god.
To
Bros,
Lavella's,
man.
to City Hall.
All
You
right.
heard the saying, man. Early Aarakocra gets the worm, man. So you know,
When I gave you worms that one day, you got offended.
that's true. It is kind of racist, man, for you to like totally throw worms at me. It's the saying. The saying's there, man. We don't eat worms anymore.
Mhm.
You know,
Uh,
I got
We
worms
raise
once.
worms for magical spells, though. So
I don't see her anymore, though.
All right, you guys make your way over to the town hall, and as you make your way in that direction, climbing your way back up through Deep Crack to the western side, you do find yourself in the city plaza, where The traffic is starting to die down a little bit. People have wrapped up their shops and their business for the day and are heading further into West Crack to find a place to carouse for the evening or back to their homes. The traffic across the bridges is highly congested, with the wagons and such being dragged across. And you can see that there are still worker crews about working around the clock to try to get the lift back in order. As you make your way to Town Hall, you enter, and there you find Lavella Morstrider sitting at a desk surrounded by a couple of deputies. You do see Berman there, her sort of number one, as he is also there with a couple of other deputies. And as you enter, they all kind of stop to look at you before they look at her and askance, and she just kind of nods her head, and they slowly start to leave. Berman doesn't leave. He just kind of continues to lean against the wall. And as you enter, she says, "Well, you're back sooner than I thought. What's going on over in Rockhaven?"
Well, it's
we
nothing.
wiped everyone out.
Yeah, it was nothing good. It was nothing good, but now it's definitely better.
Perhaps you could be a little more descriptive.
Oh, I realize.
Well, I stabbed a guy, and then I burned a guy, which was pretty
Perhaps you
fascinating.
could be a little less descriptive. Just tell me what happened there.
Lucius
So,
is like, are these refreshments for us? And he's like works his way over to a table and starts like mixing himself a drink.
Sure. She just kind of like puts her head in her hand and just like, by the gods.
The DM puts his hand in his head, like,
The
good
DM, yeah.
lord, just get to the point.
As you suspected, the Obsidian Ring was there at
Haven.
Haven.
And apparently, we're using it as a staging ground for a proper invasion of Cortis. So you might want to call up the reserves and get ready for a fight.
At this, she kind of leans back in her chair and is slowly nodding. She's clearly kind of contemplating the news you just brought her. What else? Anything else you found?
I mean, it was, low-level thugs, so they didn't know much. We tried to get some information, who their boss was and stuff, but it's pretty compartmentalized, pretty normal stuff, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and we let one go, just so they could spread the word of our fury.
Well, we'll see how that pans out, won't we? But I say, you got a lot more information, did a lot more than I expected y'all to do.
We're good at our jobs,
You might be.
While she says that, Lucius is just like drinking. He just goes, bonus. He like continues drinking.
All right. So she looks kind of at Berman, who, they seem to be exchanging some sort of silent conversation. He like shrugs his shoulders at her. She like shrugs back at him, kind of shakes her head a little bit, and looks back at you all before saying, "All right, good to know. We're going to keep our eyes and ears out. Obsidian Ring activity in Rockhaven. In the meantime, I think it's safe to say we can have whoever was living there move back or start their lives again."
I have a question. I would like to insider when we told her that news, she didn't seem to react. So can I try to perceive what was she 25? Does she seem surprised or unsurprised by the news of the Obsidian Ring?
Yeah, 25 on insight.
Yep.
Yeah, she seems not. She's difficult to read. She has a sense of sort of surprise in her voice that you were able to do as much as you did, and she certainly wasn't expecting news of the confirmation, in addition to the fact that you actually dispatched with the problem. That was sort of like a bonus to her. Okay. And now she is but she's not giving any indication that like, oh, this is something
she had planned for. Yeah.
Yeah. There's surprise in her voice, but it's like pleasant, like genuine surprise.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
So she says, all right, well, a deal's a deal. And she goes over to a chest which she unlocks with a key from around her neck and opens it and pulls out a sack that she drops on the table, the desk in front of her, and it lands with a satisfying chink of coinage within.
Oh, well, geez, this is for us. We just, your appreciation is almost payment enough.
Well, if that's the case, and she reaches back.
But almost enough. Gosh, we just, if you could say thank you a few more times as I pick up the bag and check it.
I'll let you say it one more time.
You'll let me say it one more time? Well, gosh, you could just appreciate us.
I do.
It feels so good.
And she says, listen, there aren't a lot of capable bodies outside of the Stone Wardens here in Cortis, if you get my meaning. I can certainly use your help, and if you're going to be sticking around a little bit, I could use some help in trying to figure out who this Carruthers figure is and what role they have to play in all the recent sabotages around the city. It's unnerving, and Berman and I are doing our best, and we just cannot figure this out. If we have another incident like the lift, I don't know what's going to happen to this town. People are going to start to go crazy and panic, and we got to keep the peace. Honestly, if y'all hadn't been on the lift at that time, I'm sure there would have been a bunch of dead folk.
Well, we're interested in finding Carruthers too. Yeah, no question. But
so nice of you to say. Yeah.
He killed my lover. Carruthers, he'll go down. She was such a passionate dwarf.
Yes.
It's so loud.
The one-toothed dwarf, Yini Kaleva.
Yini! Oh, Yini!
How much is in the sack of gold? Or...
Please count it in front of her.
Yeah, okay. Just checking.
You open it up and just by glancing at it very quickly, it looks like it's the agreed upon amount of 500.
Cool.
500. Shall I store that for us?
Yep.
All right.
Well, we will definitely keep an ear out, everything out for Carruthers there.
Oh, one last question. What would this Obsidian Ring, which is not known for attacking cities, what would be the impetus for something like that, where they would want to attack the entire city? My understanding is from my friend here, Roar, is that they're not known for being so up in front with their military. They're behind the scenes actions. Is there anything you've heard?
Yeah, they are not. You have perceived the facts correctly, Halfling. This is a difficult thing to try to grasp here. They're usually into petty crime sort of things like extortion and maybe some light smuggling here and there. The things they've been doing of late that I've heard coming out of Telworth and even Zarhalak, they're getting involved in things they shouldn't be. Murders, assassinations. If what you're telling me is true, an outright assault on Cortis, something's not right here. But I couldn't tell you what's going on.
Well, I think we're heading to Telworth to go poke around a little bit anyway, so we'll let you know what we find.
Well, if y'all come back, I would appreciate any news you get from from yonder parts. I think news has been a little bit quiet from that direction recently, and it's a little bit unnerving.
Yeah, we got some context. Well, hey, we will be happy to bust in here any hour of any day, whenever we please.
Good day, madam.
I think. All right. Have yourselves a good evening. And it's good to know I can call upon you if I need help. And she kind of sees you out. And yeah, you guys are back out.
As she sees you out, you notice that Lucius is lagging back. He's like making himself another drink. He's like, one for the road, man.
I thought Lucius doesn't drink.
Yeah, it's all like non-alcoholic. He didn't put
Yes.
any alcohol in there.
It's a mocktail. Yeah. She stands there awkwardly for like the good minute that it takes you to like pour your concoction, stir it. You take the stirring rod
He's
and
like,
kind of taste
ooh,
it.
passion fruit juice. Ooh, I haven't had this before. Ooh, let's see what happens. he's like chipping ice, but like very delicately chipping the ice.
It's completely silent except for like the tinkle of the stir against the cup.
He's like he's selecting mint leaves. He's like, oh, yeah.
Yes. And after some time of this, you finally exit, and the door shuts rather suddenly behind you just as you cross the threshold, and you find yourselves. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and then the guy that's with Ravel was like, didn't he realize that was a fake plant? That was a plastic plant.
All right,
tough.
You've been chewing on it for like an hour. You find yourselves back in the hustle and bustle of the plaza. The crowd is pretty much diminished at this point, and you see off in the other corner of the plaza, Merciless still exhorting the crowd, trying to make a case for support for the Draconis Imperium. But even at this kind of later hour, he realizes that there is not much effort to be or benefit to be had from the last few stragglers, and he even starts packing up his little stool and his sort of poncho or shawl that he wears against the chill night air, and starts walking off towards his abode. And you all are there in the plaza. What do you all do?
Wealthy Wagoneer for the night?
Underwoods is an inn or a supply shop. What's the nature of that?
Underwoods is a make a history check, actually.
Well, I feel like I should know.
Okay. Well, make a history check anyway. We'll see how much you know.
18.
18. All right. So Underwoods is a sort of general store within Cortis. It is owned by Hobart Thither-Yonder, who was the gnome contraptionist who designed the lift, and in conjunction with Wegla, Copperknuckle was instrumental in the development of it. The store is a general store where you can go to buy sort of like basic sort of gear, foodstuffs, supplies, etc. But as a contraptionist, Hobart is also famed for his many contraptions, little mechanical knickknacks, adventuring implements, etc., that he fashions mostly in his spare time as sort of an amateur contraptionist, self-described amateur contraptionist, but he does make a pretty healthy living off of it. Underwoods is also, you also know that Underwoods is where Cerise works. And there's, with an 18, I will say you also, and because of maybe a personal relationship, you know that there's an interesting story there. Cerise, even though the name of the place bears her name, she is not the owner of Underwoods.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Do you think that's something you would have asked her about at some point?
I mean, I think our relationship's pretty intimate, so if it's important to her as to why she doesn't own it, we would have talked about it.
Okay. Then what you know is that, and what she's explained to you is that years ago, her uncle and her aunt were the owners of this place, and they had lived here in Cortis for many generations, the Underwood family. Unfortunately, they were killed when a neo-imperialist attack several years ago ravaged Cortis, and the storefront was left to her cousins, a twin brother and sister, who eventually vanished, disappeared without a trace. And while this happened, Cerise was off in Telworth. She had decided to make her way to Telworth to find fame, fortune, whatever. And only having returned recently, within the last year or so, realized that her family's store had gone up for auction because there was no one there to claim it. And Hobart Thither Yonder was the highest bidder, took ownership of the store, had been running it for over a year at this point before she came back. He took pity on her, not enough pity that he wanted to sell it back to her, give it to her, but decided to give her a job there and give her the opportunity potentially to maybe work her way back up into a part ownership scheme or something like that. And she bristles against this idea, but realizes it might be her best chance of kind of reclaiming her family's legacy.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Good. Let's go to Wealthy Wagon.
Wealthy Wagon for the night.
So, yeah, the Wealthy Wagoneer. Yes. You, excuse me. You make your way to the Wealthy Wagoneer, and the party is just getting started as you enter. There's the sounds of revelry filter out into the night as you open the door. The smell of roasted spiced potatoes permeates the air, and you can see flagon upon flagon of ale, foaming mugs of ale just being passed around in a very convivial sort of atmosphere, as there's a band of musicians in the corner, and there are games of chants going on, general carousing. It's a very lively atmosphere.
I don't want to play it out, but I will look at Valfire and go, another round of drinking games, and that'll be how I end my night.
All right.
Asking the question or drinking?
Both.
All right, Valfire, do you participate? Do you take the challenge?
I do not this time, and here's why. Valfire says, my friend, although I enjoy the very large pints they have here.
It comes in pints?
Regular
it comes in pints. These very large pints. I have much planning to do. And I have much things. The moon is full tonight, and I must make some prayers, as is my custom. And I head up to the room.
Okay. What do the rest of you do?
I head up to the room for meditation and then sleeping.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I half-heartedly have a pint and go to bed.
Okay.
I go up to the musicians that are playing, and I ask if I can jump in for a couple and sing with them and perform.
You bust out your skin flute?
Yeah. My skin flute?
What?
You said bust out my skin flute?
Sure. Yep.
All right. So you go up to the
He's waiting for what's her name to show. If the what's her name shows up, he'll definitely be busting out his skin.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right. You go up to the musicians. It's a troupe that you've seen in Cortis several times before. They're not particularly talented per se, but for Cortis, small town level, they get enough gigs. They have enough patronage here, and you are an instantly sort of recognized figure for your talent, and they seem honored that you would join them. Go ahead and make we'll say just make a singular sort of performance check to see how the evening's performance goes.
All right, that's going to be a 25.
All right. So there are musicians, and then there are bards. Those who are so steeped in not only the nature and the theory of music, but in the lore and the history, and they know how to read the crowd, and they know exactly what's going to resonate and what's going to reflect back to them. And this is an evening in which you not only showcase your talents, but you elevate the rest of the musicians around you, and they play at a level hitherto unseen. Or unheard, I should say. And they receive, the lot of you together receive the kinds of accolades that, might be reserved for the larger sort of opera houses in the more refined parts of the Broken Waste, like Telworth, etc. Or perhaps even among the sorceress elite of Seam Gahal. So it's a performance to be remembered. And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, so the performance, just so you guys can have a taste. Smiles once he gets up on stage. He says, "Give me a tune," and then he says, "We set out to Rockhaven to face the Obsidian Ring. Our feet were steady on the ground as prepared to bring. With swords and shields at the ready, we charged into the fray. We fought with all our might and drove the ring away.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
That was awesome. Well done. A rousing round of applause.
Unfortunately, you're going to now have to continue doing that for the rest of the campaign.
The whole campaign.
Their dark magic was potent, but we stood strong and true. We battled through the night till dawn's first light shone through. With swords and shields at the ready, and so on.
And you're lying. We fought in the middle of the day and we came home.
Yeah.
Siri,
Hey,
open up GarageBand.
as a bard, I can embellish. All right.
Yep. It's good.
Yes. That's actually your duty. With a 25 performance check, you realize that you have to tell the tale in a more grandiose fashion.
Yeah, did you give us a name in this tale to start the legend of our group? Because I feel like that's what bards do.
That I did not do that. In fact, somebody in the audience asked, "Sir, what do we call you?" And I just kept going. I said, "Now Rockhaven is safe from the ring's evil grasp. We sing this song forever to commemorate our task." And then I kind of just march up off into the into my room, avoiding the question.
But leaving a note for yourself, like, damn, I should have thought of a name for our team.
Yeah.
Such an obvious thing to do. Add to the song, build a legend, charge higher prices.
Well, there will be plenty of other opportunities should you continue to frequent the Wealthy Wagoneer. All right, so as you retire, as you're the last one to retire for the night, Smiles, leaving a stream of applause as you make your way up the stairs to rest for the evening. And we'll say it's into the wee hours of the evening that you were carousing with the rest of the troop. You all bed down for the night,
or perch up, whatever it is,
or perch up, whatever the case may be. Valfire.
And don't forget, I don't sleep on the bed. I sleep under the bed.
Yeah. So you make you bed down below the bed, sort of making a little den for yourself, as is your habit. And as you lay your head down and the day's weariness takes over and you retreat to the world of dreams, you find yourself stalking the plains of the Broken Waste. Your eyes, your field of vision, much lower than even your typical halfling stature, very close to the ground, and you feel the ground providing you with information. Your sense of smell heightened as you pick up scents on the wind, wafting off of the barren rock, entering your mind and causing you to turn instinctually in a specific direction. And as you start to lope over the broken terrain, at first at a trot and then a full-on just sort of gallop across the terrain, you find your quarry. A clawfoot strayed from its herd. This large, horse-sized, pebbly textured anteater-like creature with the long snout kind of snuffing across the ground, looking for tufts of skygrass sticking from the rocky surface. And you very carefully circle around to get upwind of the creature, as is the habit of your form. And as you slink over a rise, you feel your tail start to wave in anticipation. And suddenly you are off, bounding across the plain, closing the distance rapidly towards this creature, who only at the last second does it sort of look up and turn its head lazily in your direction before you are on top of it. And that's where the lust takes over. The first bite into the flesh allows a torrent of blood to pour forth into your mouth, and you go into a frenzy, tearing, scratching, reveling in the primevalness of this endless dance of nature, killing and being killed. devouring, gaining sustenance, and perhaps being prey for something else at some point. And when the deed is finally done and you've brought the creature low, throat torn out, strings of flesh dangling from your jaws, when you're finally sated, only then do you look up to the moon to give your customary howl of victory, of achievement, except the cry sticks in your throat as you see the moon growing dimmer and dimmer and dimmer before your eyes. You look over to pending judgment. It is now the brightest object in the night sky, and it's growing brighter and brighter and brighter until a field of white encircles you. And you try as best you can to shield your eyes, but the brightness penetrates your eyelids and starts to burn, starts to sear your canine retinas until the shock of the pain awakens you. You raise your head instantly and thump it against the top of the bed and clutch it in pain, realizing dream. Another dream. You close your eyes, put your head back down, and attempt to go back to sleep against the torrent of the visions that haunt you at night. And that's where we're going to take a few minutes break, and we will pick it up again in the morning as the party decides what to do next.
Perfect.
See you guys in the morning.
No,
Okay.
see you. No,
All right, see you in the morning.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
All right, welcome back to the second part of episode 6. The party has just retired for the evening at the Wealthy Wagoneer after a brutal day trying to right the wrongs at Rockhaven. And
Point
Yep.
of order.
yep,
Long rest.
getting there. I'm getting there.
Jesus. Let him go.
You just don't get to
After-
say point of order that often. Come on.
Yeah.
And after a long rest,
Yay!
the party awakens to the new day. And as you regroup, what do you all do?
I look at my spell book to prepare different spells. We gotta go see Sidonius. Is Lucius out getting star clocks again? He's doing
Say
some
that
Tai Chi. Are you doing some Tai Chi out front? Or you got some star clocks?
Starbucks. Got to make sure that spelling is correct.
Yep.
No, Lucius is just sitting on a bench right outside the inn, just watching people walk by. He's up early because early Aarakocra gets the worm, but yeah.
Valfire didn't sleep. Valfire didn't sleep well, so he does that old man getting coffee and donuts for everyone at like 5 o'clock. Like he's there before the place opens. He's the first one there.
Smiles comes out looking just like Lucius and sits next to him on the bench and says, "Hey man, what's new? How you doing?"
Bro, you look just like me, bro.
Bro,
Come at
that's
me. And he like gives you.
That's because you're my brosif. And I put my arms around you, bro. You're
And
so
I feel like-
warm.
I feel like
You're
there's
so
a
warm, bro.
series. There's a moment where we're both like, bro, and then you go, bro, buddy, dude, bro,
It's a great question.
Bro. Where's my carp?
dude. Where is your car?
Carp. C-A-R-P. We're in this.
Here's a question though.
Cart. Where's my
As a
cart?
as a changeling, if he turns into an Aarakocra, can he fly?
I cannot fly. No.
No, it's just vestigial sort of wings. Yeah. All right, so you all regroup in the morning. Hror, as you pass through the tap room and go to meet your friends outside, you do see Rollard, the innkeeper, who kind of looks at you as you descend the stairs and just kind of shakes his head and goes back to cleaning the bar as you walk out.
No fire tonight. It's good.
It's a start. And you all meet outside the Wealthy Wagoneer. What do you guys do?
Bro, take it easy on him. He's
Yeah.
a good bro.
Bellfire, Silver for the weapons, or how long is that going to take? Because we got to get
Well,
going.
first off, you can't. First off, you can only tell it's Velfire because I come around the corner with clucked chickens, but I had cast Disguise Self, and I look like a much smaller version of our friend Lucius. So you come out and you see 3 Luciuses, and it's just dude,
Bro,
Starclux?
Starclux.
Is it one of those chamomile?
Starclux. My voice doesn't change, so I'm like, dude.
Can I with my -2 insight try to identify which one is Valfire?
Sure. Go ahead and roll.
Please roll low.
Roll perception. Yeah.
A 5.
You have no. You know what? You know exactly which one is Valfire. You know exactly which one is Valfire. It's one of the. It's got to be one of the taller ones.
Sure.
The shorter one is clearly a trick meant to distract you.
I can make myself look different. It's fine. Hey, Valfire, pointing at Smiles. Are we gonna go get some silver on the weapons there, or should we just head to Sidonius right away?
Whoa!
Corrosive, man.
Slow down.
Bro,
Jesus Lord.
bro.
My understanding, and I'll turn back to Velfire, is that the general store, which goes by the name of
Underwoods.
is on the
Okay.
3rd tier. Perhaps that's on the way to where we go. We need the silver first.
Yep, we'll do that.
Whoa!
Silver. Shop. Lucia, or what's it?
Do you guys just want to fly there?
Actually, here's this. I go back inside and I go to the innkeeper and I say, I need a small boy, rollers. Not for what you think.
Well, I assumed you needed someone as a runner for a message, but now I'm very concerned.
That's correct. And I say, we need 4 bars of silver delivered to the blacksmith at Steelclaw. Can you send a note to Hobart the gnome and ask him to, secure 4 bars of silver and payment upon receipt to, let's see, the blacksmith. I don't know his name, but either way.
Oh,
It
Alamaral.
was a batter sweep.
Alamaral Batterbroom. Yeah.
Batter broom.
He looks at you and says, "I think this is going to be a highly complicated task for a small child."
Well, here, can you send a note to Hobart asking for 4 bars of silver? Be ready for us to be picked up later. How about that?
I will. Sure, I can do that.
All right. And I'll take a little note and I'll write it down.
Okay.
And I'll give him a silver and make sure this happens.
Okay. He looks at the note and looks at the silver. He just sort of slowly nods at you and.
Or 5 silver.
Well, all right.
Valfire's got. What I'm looking to get is basically Hobart to deliver silver to the blacksmith. It would basically like, hey, we need blacksmith services. Can you deliver 4 silver bars to the blacksmith on commission to be made into whatever, and then we'll pay the blacksmith or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so he says, yeah, he will. I can send a message.
And I signed his Smiles.
Okay, all right. You write up a note, signed Smiles. He says,
Hey, dude, not cool, man.
You don't see that. You don't go back inside me.
Yeah,
I can sense it.
He rolls up the note, and he agrees to send it for you.
All right, and then we head off to Sidonius, and I tell the crew, all taken care of. Let's go.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right, so you go. You're heading down now to the 4th tier in order to meet with Sidonius. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. You make your way down through the hustle and bustle of the early morning. and find your path through the various ladders and bridges, etc., through Deep Crack and down towards the fourth tier, making your way all the way to the southern end, overlooking the lake, the Flounder Pounder, the waterfall that cascades into Deep Crack, and you now stand before the house of Sidonius, the large multi-story structure built into the stone.
Before we go in, I turn into Smiles.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll knock.
Okay. You knock on the door, and it takes a little while, but you do hear some shuffling from behind the door, and answering the door, still dressed in sort of like a robe over his nightwear, is the old, distinguished form of Sidonius, the elderly green-scaled dragonborn figure, who still looks rather imperious and is still clutching his cane as he kind of looks you all up and down and says, "Piers, you and I have very different definitions of what next day means."
We are sorry about that. We had to take care of some business with the Obsidian Ring in Rockhaven for the High Marshal. Things kind of got away from us, but we're here. We thought you might use the extra day to find out even more for us.
Well, you are not incorrect.
Double negative. Good.
So Sidonius replies, he kind of looks at you and says, "Well, indeed, we did use the extra time to discover more information about the diary that you handed over." He kind of mumbles something under his breath, something to the effect of useless, frivolous, etc., and then says, "Come in," and just sort of leaves the door open for you to enter.
Mm-hmm. Going in.
Going in.
All right, you go inside and you find yourselves once again in the well-furnished but highly unused domicile of Sidonius. Various rooms on either side of this long hallway with very beautifully polished wooden floors reflect the trappings of a fine living, except all the furniture is covered and all the paintings are covered with white sheets, kind of to protect them from the dust that would otherwise ravage these fine pieces. And he leads you to the sitting room that he had originally kind of led you to, and sits in an overstuffed armchair by a fire that is already roaring this morning and providing warmth throughout the chamber, and bids you to kind of sit on the various couches and chairs that surround the fireplace. And
do we find it strange the house is set up this way, or is this something that we would
make an insight check?
I'm gonna make one.
22.
Okay.
13.
Yeah. So I mean, both of you recognize that this old elderly dragonborn seems to be living alone, and it lives in a house much too large for a single individual. And maybe at one time the house was full, but seems to be devoid of anyone else at this point. And much of it has just been sort of stowed away.
There's not pictures of other people's family in this house, is there? Like
almost everything of sort of a personal nature has been covered. Make a perception check, actually, as you're sitting around this room, which seems to be the only room that you've seen so far that is not covered.
22.
You notice that there are three portraits hanging on the wall. One of what must be Sidonius himself at a much younger age, a youthful dragonborn wearing ceremonial armor, emblazoned with the symbol of. Actually, make a religion check. Let's see if you know what the symbol is.
Roll
22.
high. Yes.
Another 22. All right. Emblazoned with the symbol of Bahamut, the platinum dragon, a god of the pantheon that represents goodness, justice, righteousness, etc., and seems to be sort of one of the patron deities of Dragonborn.
But and that's, do we know it as a good or lawful?
Yes. Yeah, a lawful good, like a holy, righteous sort of being dedicated to promoting justice in the world, etc.
Understood.
And
just one point of order.
Yeah.
I rolled 3 22s. One was a 17 plus 5, one was a 15 plus 7, and one was a 19 plus 3. So it's just kind of funny.
That's unbelievable. I
Yeah,
know.
I
I
was
saw
curious how you were doing that.
Yeah, pretty good. In this portrait of young Sidonius, you see him bearing the magnificent sword that now hangs over the mantle, with the dragon-shaped pommel with wings kind of spreading out as the crossbar. This massive silvery blade. Another portrait depicts a red dragonborn woman, similarly dressed with in ceremonial armor, with bearing the symbolism of Bahamut, and long sort of tendrils for hair, sort of combed back and tied, and brought over sort of artfully over the shoulder, as she also stands there kind of looking regally. And in the third portrait, you see a younger dragonborn with green scales, but a tinge of red sort of on the outside of each scale, that also looks to be, bearing the sort of noble disposition, sort of looking off into the distance regally, and wearing what could be interpreted as sort of like acolyte sort of robes, not yet a full-fledged member of whatever order these other two dragonborn represent, but looking to be like sort of very young in age, almost like maybe early teens, and sort of bearing like a helmet and a mace in one hand, regally looking, but not yet fully adorned with as part of this order.
Okay. I'll just take a mental picture of those people and just try to memorize their faces. That's it.
Okay. As you do this, Sidonius, once you kind of sit, Sidonius speaks. There's like a moment of silence before he just like sort of huffs and speaks very suddenly, very quickly. We have done much research into the strange diary you've presented us that you located in the house with the Starspawn, and there is much to discuss. I have urged the head of our order to dismiss you. Job well done. Our paths never to cross again, but she seems to think we should bring you into the fold. Would you meet with her?
Well, I think that's something we wanted to do from the very beginning, so yeah.
Truth be told, I have advised against this. I do not think you are worthy enough to join, but she seems to disagree.
Bro, man. Harsh your vibe. What do you mean we're not worthy, man? We're worthy. Look at us, man.
What I mean is that you lack a certain sense of respect and decorum. And should you meet with the head of our order, it is demanded of you. You must show her the proper respect.
Listen to me, man, about respect. Respect is a two-way street, man. Your order's got to respect us just as much as we got to respect your order. Meet us in the middle.
I'm
bro.
gonna step in front and just. I know how to respect elders of an order. I can make sure we handle this okay.
Lucius he's like, I know how to respect too, bro. Just respect us, man. It's two-way street.
Make a persuasion check, Roar.
Okay.
Me?
Roar.
Oh, thank goodness.
+0. 19.
Okay.
You were very persuasive.
Yeah, he looks you up and down. The matted and burned away clumps of fur or patches of exposed skin on your body. You see his eyes kind of linger on them, and he looks straight into your eyes for a moment, and you see like these yellow sort of golden orbs just sort of pierce into you.
Can I do I notice the Bahamut what's that Bahamut pictures here?
What is your passive perception?
Never mind, I don't. 8.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Noticed it.
All right, cool.
He looks you in the eyes and says, "We shall see, young bugbear." And he stands up rather abruptly, with a creak of the old bones and like a grunt as he kind of leans onto his cane rather heavily. If you are ready, then.
Oh, she's here?
Yes.
Oh, let's do it. Yeah, okay. And I turn to the other guys and go, hey guys, let's just remember who we're talking to here, okay?
Which just like pushes past you. It's like, I'm ready. Let's do this, bro.
Respect is earned, not given. Let's go.
And I'll cast Disguise Self, but only a very light Disguise Self. I will cast it like chin down and try to make my outfit, which is ragged and beat up, and try to make it a little bit more professional looking.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of like a Donald Duck-esque, blue. Like I don't know what looks appropriate, but like a blue suit with like a
sailor
white
shirt, no pants.
sailor shirt, no pants for sure. Kind of like a little boy with a big lollipop and like maybe some curls and a hat.
Like a navy
Yeah,
naval suit, sailor suit.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Because he's
natural 20. Sidonius notices this, and he looks at you with sort of a stern look at first, but then his gaze sort of softens and says, he puts his sort of clawed hand on your shoulder and says, "It will not matter to her what is on the outside." And then he turns away from you and shuffles towards the bookcase. He half pulls out of the bookcase one tome, then a second, then a third. And the bookcase, you see, suddenly pushes out about a foot out of the wall and starts to slide over to the right with a low rumbling sound, revealing a set of stone stairs that descend into darkness. As Sidonius takes a step forward, the light from a torch automatically flickers into existence, and he turns around one last time to say, "This way," and starts plodding down the very narrow stone steps, a spiral staircase that descends into darkness. As he descends, torchlight starts to flare up every 10, 15 feet, illuminating the way. And you can hear the tap, tap, tap of his cane as he goes lower and lower into the chamber.
I follow and I say, "Walk this way," and I start plodding like he plods.
I'm right behind him.
Okay.
I'm behind Roar.
Okay.
No, walk like this, and I start plodding. No, walk this.
All right.
That's a really cool walk, Valfire. You really know how to do it. Strut your stuff. So respectful.
Your voice echoes through this stone cylinder as you descend further and further into the rock. And you go down the staircase for a good 2 minutes, 3 minutes, about 5 minutes of nothing but descent before the staircase bottoms out into a long hallway. And here the stonework is very ornate and finely crafted. You can see the flagstones all perfectly symmetrical, the walls carved with reliefs, symbols of Bahamut lining the walls, and the doors themselves, two double doors at the end of the hallway, a set of double doors at the end of the hallway, in the middle of which is a very large relief of a mighty sort of dragon-like maw, just sort of facing outward towards the troop, the lot of you. And as he approaches the door, his footsteps echoing on the stone floor, he turns around and looks at you all and says, "This is the point of no return. There is no turning back from your destiny, should you pass the threshold."
I'm stepping right up.
Okay.
Yes, Miles turns around and goes back to the inn and goes to bed for the night. I kid. Adventure on!
All right. He opens the doors. He just basically puts his hand on top of the dragon's maw, and the doors just swing open, revealing a huge chamber. The walls unfinished stone, and you can see very high. You can't really see the ceiling. You see the tips of stalactites like dipping into a chamber that seems to be illuminated by a large silver star-like image emblazoned onto a large dais. In the center of this dais is a throne, a large silver chair, and sitting in the throne, you see a slight framed, dark-skinned woman of elven heritage with pure silver hair and silver eyes gleaming behind sort of half-shut lids, in a simple white sleeveless dress that cascades down to her ankles. And as you enter slowly, her eyelids sort of slowly raise, and she stares at you as you make your way across the floor and enter this large chamber. And it is completely silent. Your footsteps are incredibly loud as they echo across this chamber. As you also
Okay,
echoing
please.
across the chamber,
Oh, God.
Sidonius looks at you and shakes his head as if to say, I knew this was a mistake. He whispers to you all as you pass him. He's standing there at the door and says, "You may address her as the Argent."
Argent?
And just sort of like stands by the door, his head sort of bowed in reverence. When you all enter, the doors shut behind you and close with a finality that again echoes throughout the chamber. When it dies down, you find yourselves standing before the dais, eyes a little bit constricted, trying to protect yourself from the harsh glare of the symbol etched on the floor, which starts to dim as the woman rises from the throne. And almost as if she were floating across the stone floor, you don't even hear the sounds of footsteps. She glides towards you, and she looks upon each of you in turn with a gaze that reflects a knowing and a sort of care, a loving at the same time, as if you were children and she was a mother that knew you were up to something naughty, but was okay with it.
Definitely Nicario's mom.
God, I hope so. When she passes her eyes over Roar, he will, not in subservience, but in respect, I think, do a bit of a, what would it be? A hand symbol, something that he's learned from his mentor that is elvish in nature.
Okay. Yeah, so a symbol of, sort of touching your forehead and then your heart and then sort of making like a bowing gesture would be a typical sort of elven gesture that you're familiar with. And as you do so, She nods ever so slightly in your direction.
Lucius reluctantly gives the softest of traditional Aarakocra greeting or signs of respect, which traditionally would be wings out wide, bent down low, so the beak's almost touching the ground. And he basically just nods his head down a little bit like this. I think he knows he's supposed to be respectful, but he's just all about equality and not necessarily deference. So.
Yeah. Okay. She also nods in your direction and seems to understand the dichotomy of feeling inside you. The rest of you.
No, Valfire just puts his hands on it across his chest.
Okay.
Says,
Smile.
"All right now, elf
good.
woman. Greetings."
Smiles, takes off his hat, and says, "Salutations. I'm Sterling Miles. At your service."
I think in Elvish I'll introduce myself as from Embermain, the Roar.
Okay. And as you go through your series of greetings and introductions, you hear her speak barely above a whisper. And at the same time, you hear that voice echoing in your mind, sort of like a 1 second delay. And there's a sort of concurrent stream of communication kind of permeating each of your psyches. And you hear her say, your neighbor kills one of your loved ones. You know beyond a shadow of a doubt, it was your neighbor who perpetrated the act. But the law fails to adequately compile evidence of the crime. So your neighbor is allowed to go free. What would you do?
Lucius ponders this, waiting for somebody to answer first.
Telepathically, I'll just speak to Roar, where only Roar can hear me, and I go, "Was that a question?" She finished it in kind of a way that didn't indicate it was a question.
At the end, she asked, "What would you do?"
But it was like, "What would you do?"
Lucius kind of waiting for someone to answer. No one answers, and Lucius finally steps forward and goes, "Real man, you know, the law is the law, man, but there's the law that we write. There's the law of nature, man, and, you know, the bill comes due. But honestly, I would just implore this person to come clean with what they did and do right by their people, man. You know, I could be a very charismatic person, man. You know what I'm saying? I would convince him. I'm pretty sure I could convince him to just turn himself in and do right by me. So yeah, that's what I would do."
And if he couldn't, well, there need to be consequences.
Yeah, like talking to him the second time, man.
That's not what I've been taught.
He looks over at Smiles and Bellfire.
Oh, mighty Argent, is that what you go by? I do not live in a world of black and white. There are grays. The animals of the world do not live by the law of man. If one is hurt, it reacts. If there's a weakling in the pact, then that weakling gets left behind. So to your question, the pack must survive, and the weak must be expunged. In an Elven, I say, we all die at some point.
Miles, hearing this, says, the peace is what must be upheld. If somebody threatens the peace, they shouldn't. But of course, if, somebody can't go peacefully, then they have to go.
And Smiles is thinking about the ushers that escort the people that ridicule him at the quarry every night when he doesn't tell the good jokes. Wait, Smiles, were you talking about something different?
There's there's someone at the quarry with like one of those like sticks with a hook on it, but from the Apollo, Live with the Apollo.
No, I think I imagine it's actual people that ridicule him up on stage. He's like, get him out of here. Johnny's back again. Get him out.
Whatever force, whatever means necessary. First is peace, and if not peace, then force.
Then the shaft. Sorry.
So she looks over all of you, and as you speak, Smiles, you hear the words echo in your mind, and also said aloud, by whatever means necessary. She looks over to Sidonius and says, they have passed a test. You may induct them. She walks back slowly to the throne and gracefully sits, arms alighted on the armrests of the throne, and sort of leans back, watching very carefully. And Sidonius, slowly ambles towards your group and shakes his head and says, Mighty Argent, I am your most humble and faithful servant. He gets down on his knees as he's saying this, like struggling, putting all his weight on the cane. As his knee sort of hits the hard stone floor, he grimaces and says, But I must implore you, do not make this mistake. I have seen them. They are scoundrels who would go back on a deal. They have no respect for that which is above them. I beg of you, do not make this mistake. The Argent looks to him and says, It has been decided. After which he hoists himself up back on his cane with a grunt and looks back to all of you, kind of shaking his head once more, and turns to you all and says, Very well. We have examined the writings of the diary you found with the Starspawn. Whoever wrote this foul script is a member of a group known as Inevitable Night. Whoever wrote this, we do not know. That person could still be at large in Cortis, or perhaps more likely, they have fled. But we have pieced some dark purpose together regarding this clandestine group. They seek the Chronomaticum, a device crafted by the Draconis Imperium's greatest wizards and sorcerers in days of yore. The device was thought to be merely a legend, but Inevitable Night's fervor in attempting to find it leads us to believe that perhaps there is some truth to the matter. Legends of the chronomaticum state. It was a device used to control the flow of time. It could reverse or accelerate the aging process on a living creature, restore objects ravaged by time, even pause the flow of time in an area. At some point, the elders of the Imperium deemed it too dangerous to wield, so they locked it away, never to be used again for foul purposes. But to this day, no one knows the truth of the chronomaticum. At this point, the Argent stands up once again and approaches you, and you hear, whispered but louder in your mind, "But there is one who knew. A dragonborn known as Larthakia, a powerful wizard and scholar of the Imperium. It is rumored she escaped the cataclysm brought by pending judgment, and while the land still ran red with magma and ash, she made her home in Deepborn Cleft." Sidonius nods towards the Argent and continues.
Made the home where? Deep what?
Deepborn Cleft is what she says.
Deepborn Cleft. Okay.
Sidonius continues. "It is thought this Larthakia," and he looks over to the Argent for Askance as he says this, and she nods her head, allowing him to continue. "Chronicled the final hours of the Imperium, but no one has ever been able to discover her home in Deepborn Cleft. Our group, known as the Argent Society, now tasks you with finding this place and searching its remnants for clues to the chronomaticum. This may help us understand why the group known as Inevitable Night searches for it."
Sorry, they want us to find Lathagia or
The home
or the chronomaticum.
The home of Larthakia, who in her dying days escaped the cataclysm wrought by pending judgment about 100 years ago.
She knew where the chronomaticum was held, stored.
If she,
Something.
as the only person that may have survived the cataclysm, she may have some knowledge of it,
Clue,
or
yeah.
within her surroundings may have left a clue.
Do we know where Deepborn Cleft is?
Make a history check.
Somebody else make it too.
Oh boy. Nope.
That's a 9 plus 6. Oh, 15.
3.
15. Yeah, so with a 15, you know that it's not terribly far from here, maybe about 60-ish miles to the northwest. But beyond that, that's sort of a vague direction. You've heard tell of this Deepborn Cleft as a sort of one of the major sort of canyons scarring the broken waste, and having been explored partially, tales tell of people having gone to explore and never having returned, and two, but those kinds of tales are obviously, if no one has ever returned, how would they know anything about it? So somebody must have come back. But the bottom of this canyon has yet to be discovered, and so a lot of expeditions potentially have gone out in search of whatever may have existed there at some point, either have never to have returned, or no one really able to discover much about it.
In Elvish, because she's an elf. Lady Argent, we thought we'd have some business up in Telsworth. We're worried about some people we know there. Would you have any information about what's going on with regard to the rebellion, with the Obsidian Ring being more active, with lycanthropy running rampant? Because otherwise, we'd like to help you, but this is a tall order here. We have other problems.
She opens her mouth about to respond, but Sidonius bursts in a little bit angrily. He kind of raps his cane against the stone floor and says, "The petty squabbers of Obsidian Ring resistance
Neo-imperialists are beneath the pursuits of the Argent Society. We seek out troubles that would affect the world at large, that which would end life as we know it in the Broken Waste and beyond.
He's about to continue his tirade, but the Argent stays him with a hand. A mere gesture quiets him, and he realizes he's overstepped his bounds and kind of like bows his head and steps a little bit further backwards into the shadow. She walks up to you, Horror, and places a hand ever so delicately under your chin and kind of lifts your gaze up to hers, as she's certainly shorter than you, but standing probably a good foot as she's on top of the dais still. And as she looks into your eyes, she kind of turns your head left and right, examining the patches of exposed skin on your face. The rest of you don't hear anything, but Horror, you hear a voice in your head that says,
Your travels will take you to Telworth, but I fear you will not like what you discover there.
The rest of you watch as she drops her hand for his chin and takes a step backwards.
Lucius, kind of in response to what Sidonius said, speaks up and says, Bro, man, I understand what you're saying about keeping the big picture and the major conflict in mind, but in my experience, man, albeit limited, all the small battles are just as important as big ones. They all contribute, man. Save one person, you don't know when that person's going to help you out later. That's all I'm saying, man.
Be that as it may, I do not disagree with you, Aarakocra. But what we face here, we fear to be a threat to the existence of the world, not just the Broken Waste, and not just the provincial disagreement between those who wish to repair what once was and those who wish to forge a new path. These arguments will be moot if we fear what inevitable night can accomplish what they are setting out to do. And that is why we have brought you into the fold.
Lucius, just nods.
Point of order. Telworth is northeast of us?
Correct.
Okay, just double checking.
And, deep cleft,
It's northwest.
Deep crack cleft. Deep,
Cleft. The cleft that we go to is northwest.
Deep worn cleft.
Deep
is
orange,
north.
Yes, north to the northwest.
It's morning right now, right?
It is very early morning at this point.
Yeah, okay. Argent, thank you so much for sharing with us and trusting us and bringing us into your circle. We'll now set out. Anything we should know before we go?
Yeah, for instance, do we get badges? Or my friend here likes to collect, I put to Roar. He likes to collect badges of to indicate his status in the organizations.
I will not pull out my badge.
At that, you see Sidonius kind of arch his scaly brow and shake his head and start tapping his way towards the door. The Argent raises her hand before you all, and a shock of energy pulses from her hand, streaming out like lightning, hitting you all square in the chest simultaneously.
Can I try to dodge out of the way?
Yeah,
go
I'll try to
ahead.
dodge.
Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, man, 10.
Only 2.
You do not dodge out of the way. You almost manage to turn your body aside just in time, but the beam actually follows you and hits you in the chest. As it does, the shock that you feel is not one of electricity that you would kind of feel from a lightning bolt. It is a coldness that rocks over you, a chill that echoes into your chest, and you can feel this chill sort of crawling all over the surface of your skin. And after a few seconds of this, she retracts her hand, and the pulse of light and cold just dissipates, vanishes all of a sudden with a puff of frost in the air, and you can see little flakes of condensed moisture kind of floating to the ground with a soft tinkle. And as you kind of feel your chest, you can feel like there's a cold sensation emanating from your chest. You all look down, like under your shirts, past your armor, through your fur. You can see that there is now a softly glowing ring of ice, tattooed, not the right word, chiseled maybe, emblazoned on your skin, reflecting the symbol of the Argent, this dragon-faced image with the frills and horns sticking out, carved in what appears to be ice on your chest.
Is this underneath my feathers, I assume?
Yes, it is underneath your feathers. It's not at all visible if you're wearing a shirt or underneath feathers or fur. If you've got, for example, patches of skin exposed, then those parts are visible. But it is firmly there, and as you touch it, it feels very cold. It starts to warm a little bit over the next few seconds, but it's still there and still.
Can I draw a fiery finger across it and see what it feels like?
Yeah, as you draw a fiery finger across it, you the smell of hot flesh and burned hair sort of echoes wafts into your nostrils, but the fire seems to dim as it runs across the white sort of lines that construct this image.
I reach into my pouch that has 3-day-old Goodberry mash, and I just start rubbing the mash all. Hey, what the was that? Who wants some mash? This is so strange.
As you rub it across the wet, sort of moistened berry flesh of the berries starts to harden and coagulate, almost like frozen fruit. And it starts to turn into like icy crystals, which create.
Yeah, and then whoa, wow, this is strange. This is like, I've seen this in foreign lands. Children eat this, but why is this on my chest now?
You have inadvertently invented the acai smoothie.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
But as she does this, and you can see like steam sort of rising from your chest, she looks at you all and says,
"Now the induction is complete. You are members of the Argent Society."
By the way, as soon as the dodge failed, Lucius would have pulled his quarterstaff out and taken a defensive flying stance, basically like he thinks combat has started.
Yeah, sure. You grab your staff, you kind of get into a fighting stance, but it's over faster than it started, and at the end of it, you are left with this symbol, and she has made no further motion towards you.
Okay, he comes.
Cerise is gonna love this.
Another tattoo.
You have tattoos? You have other tattoos?
I don't know.
I have a masquerade tattoo, so I can have whatever tattoo I'd like.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
All right. So, she. She doesn't reply with. Unless you have any other questions, then. Yeah.
I do.
No.
Lady Argent, we this is not the first membership organization I've joined here. Maybe you know my my master Elefrin Silvergleam. That name ring a bell for you?
This name is familiar to me.
She taught me the ways of of the blade.
Use it well, Roar Embermane, on your new mission, which may save us all.
What was the name of his master?
Puffs up a little bit. Elefrin Silvergleam. Well, We got some traveling to do there, boys.
I did not sign up for another group. I have a group. Oh.
Listen, this is what the elves do: is they give you important missions. And then, speaking of, Lady Argent, do you know anything about Seem Gahul, or is that too low level and not too, world ending for you?
I know well, Seem Gahal.
Can I ask? Because we're, I got tasked with this. We got off track here. Is this? Are they on the up and up? Are they really neutral, or are they another organization we're gonna have to chop down?
Perhaps the answer to this question will be discovered along your journey, which I can see will be a long one.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Okay. Deep respect.
Okay. She bids you all good luck, and with a sort of with a bow, she kind of dismisses you all and retreats back to the throne, slowly, gracefully walking back, gliding across the bright symbol etched into the floor. And as she sits, the floor starts to glow brightly once again, and you can see her lids start to go half shut as she enters some sort of meditative state.
Oh, elves. All right, well, I'm turning around and following Sidonius.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Okay. He stands there waiting at the door. And as you approach, the doors once again creak open, and he leads you outside of the chamber, and without a word starts plodding his way back up the stairs, slowly, ponderously, but surely. And finally returning back to the top level of his house through the secret entrance of the bookcase. What do you all do?
I say to Sidonius, those who demand respect and believe they are above all others are often in reality below them. You hold yourself in mighty high status.
I am but a cog in the machine that the Argent has constructed for us. I hold myself in no higher regard than an ant might in the face of a boot.
Where you carry a lot of judgment for an ant.
Indeed, I do. Because I fear what may be brought against her, and I would give my life to protect her honor.
You should consider what your rash actions do to affect her honor.
I will not take wisdom from a whelp like you.
Spoken truly as one who lacks wisdom. I see.
Yes, you may believe what you wish, but what I believe is that you will bring about ruin to the Argent Society. We only have time to tell.
Rubbing my chest. Master Sidonius, what, you don't think we're worthy? What do we need to do to be worthy?
She has already found you worthy, and it matters not what I think.
And he starts to pull apart his the robes that he's wearing, and underneath them you can see a similar symbol emblazoned on him. And he says,
we are all the same now.
Sounds good, man. Glad to see that you give us the due respect. Now let's get going, people. Sidonius, unless you have anything else to convey on us, man.
Be wary of Deepborn Cleft, as mysteries have yet to be unraveled. It is a dangerous place. Should you survive, there is much to be learned. Bring back this information, and we will do what we can to save the world together.
Sounds good, man.
Cool, bro.
No problem with that, Rochacho.
all right. And he leads you out of his home, and you find yourselves on the 4th tier of Deep Crack. And that is where we will end today's session. And we will pick this up again next week.
Sounds good.
I was sure that the blast of ice electricity was going to level us up. I thought that was what that moment was.
As a matter of fact, you do find yourselves rejuvenated and somewhat energized by recent events. So you can, in fact, level yourselves up to level 4.
Level 4. We're deadly now. What
That's
a world!
But silent.
Yes, indeed. Good old-fashioned world-ending quest. Okay.
Yes.
Oh man.
Very good. So we shall find out what happens, what's in store for the party, as some mysteries yet to be explored. This new one within Deepborn Cleft. Still the mystery of this mysterious Carruthers and the sabotage of the lift. Lots going on for the as yet unnamed party. Perhaps we'll resolve that mystery as well.
We have cracks and clefts to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.